After playing WWE 2K23 just for a couple of days now, I can honestly give my personal opinions about this year's game, and I might as well just talk about it in today's video since I haven't uploaded in a bit. First things first, 2K23 in terms of gameplay, kind of similar to how it was last year with last year's game. Gameplay honestly is pretty solid. There's some slight improvements. Animations look more clean, better, and the gameplay honestly just feels better. I keep saying that. You're gonna hear me saying this. I don't have anything written down. I'm just improvising off the top of my head when it comes to this video in particular, because usually I write stuff down, exactly everything I want to say in the video, so bear with me on this one. But in terms of gameplay, like I said, it's good. It's an improvement of what was done with 2K22. Sometimes hit detection can be slightly off, but not too bad to where it's actually a problem. This year's game definitely is what I would consider to be a massive improvement from what we got with 2K22, and I feel like 2K can constantly build upon what's already given with the gameplay. Now, let's move on and talk about some of the other features in the game. First things first, let's talk about Showcase. Showcase mode this year, honestly, pretty boring. If anything, I feel like it's worse than what we got with 2K22 with Rey Mysterio Showcase, because at least with Mysterio Showcase, you're given some kind of input through the perspective of Rey Mysterio. With this one, it's just John Cena is telling you about a match that happened for like a short little video segment, and then you just play the match and all you hear is just nothing but music. And once again, it's the gameplay into the cutscene, and the cutscene transitions into like real life footage. I'm not going to show any of that in this video because I feel like it's kind of pointless to talk about the showcase mode in that regard. There is some interesting rewards after just completing the showcase. I might as well just get into spoilers just in case people didn't really care for that much for the showcase, because in this game you play as Cena's opponents instead of playing as John Cena himself, which to me, that's, once again, like I said in one of my previous videos, is honestly something that is a change in formula that's honestly still pretty good in my personal opinion. For the end of the showcase, you get to play as, once again, one of John Cena's opponents, but this time it's with a twist. You get to pick exactly who you think was one of Cena's toughest opponents. And me, I chose Randy Orton. A cutscene played, and I lost. That's literally all that match is, but once that happens, you hit next match. The very second you hit next match, you're going up against John Cena again, but this time, you can't see him. Get it? Funny. In my personal opinion, Showcase mode this year is honestly pretty mid. It's not as good as what we got with last year or literally any of the previous showcases. I feel like we just need, like, if they're going to continue to do Showcase, just do it with commentary, with actual commentators, instead of just having us relive this match, but now we're listening to music, now we're just doing the perspective of this specific wrestler. It doesn't help. Or at least, here's another idea. Like, at least have it be like somebody in the background telling like a story, or just telling the story of the match and just explaining what's going on. Kind of like it's a documentary. It would be better if it was something like that, but it's not that. But then again, it's Showcase. What more can you really do? Next up, of course, we have to talk about MyFaction. I can't believe I'm even bringing it up in this specific video, but honestly, MyFaction for this year's game is exactly the same. It is exactly the same. You're playing matches for the sake of playing matches, grinding endlessly for cards, but they did add one little twist, and that's online multiplayer, which it's just quick play. It's just quick play matches. To me, that's kind of pointless. It's cool that there's online for the mode, and honestly, that's probably the only reason I'd ever touch it, because I could play against other players and just beat their asses the entire time. But I feel like there needs to be more. Like, there needs to be a reason why I'm even playing this match in the first place. And I can't do that with this game. If it's just quick play matches, then that's it. And honestly, for me, when it comes to the idea of MyFaction finally getting some sort of multiplayer, it's kind of a problem if there's no real reason to play said multiplayer. Like, there's no ranked system. in MyFaction. There's also no rank system for online, which still is kind of an issue. All this game needs is ranked, and all the mode needs is ranked, and we can honestly have a reason to grind for these cards, to constantly play MyFaction, but we don't have that reason yet, and that's still a problem. So I don't know, man. I haven't touched my GM mode, nor have I touched Universe mode yet, but all I know about Universe mode is that they finally added the ability to choose exactly what happens, both in the beginning and the end of the match in terms of like cutscenes, so you can finally get something different when it comes to matches of that sort of nature. As for my GM, it's basically the same as last year, except finally they added mid-card titles. It's still, I haven't touched it, so I can't really comment on it fully, but I've only heard the opinions of what was given to me from somebody else that was playing the mode. So I honestly, it's just, to me, it's just kind of I still don't like GM mode personally. That's just my thing. I just like playing through matches and getting stories and that sort of thing. I'm so used to just playing season mode in like the older WWE games, and that's why I like MyRise. MyRise this year is kind of different once again. It's somewhat similar to how it was last year again, where you get to play as your superstar, and this time they finally added the ability to import and export whatever characters you made for this mode, and that's, once again, still a good thing. There are two different stories when it comes to MyRise. There's the Lock and there's the Legacy, and the Legacy is the women's MyRise mode. The Lock is more of the men's MyRise mode, and excuse me. I didn't talk about this specifically when it came to the review of WWE 2K22, but the one thing that kind of irritates me is that the majority of the stuff that's hidden in the game or that's locked away is mostly in MyRise. And for certain characters, especially when it comes to certain characters and superstars, like there's Jean-Paul Levesque, there's Molly Holly, there's even a Mighty Molly in the game, but in order to unlock any of those, you have to play through MyRise in its entirety. That's fine. I would have been more happy if it was like those characters were still playable. Well, at least one version of that character was playable, and then we could unlock those attires later on by playing through MyRise. But instead, it's just Molly Holly's locked away. You have to play through the mode in order to get her. That's kind of meh, and not the best way to go about it. There was also the inclusion of war games added as a match type in the game, and honestly, it's pretty fun from what I've experienced, and that's really all I can honestly say about that. I do like the fact that there is a brand new match type in the game, but I feel like there's still some match types that need to be added in. We still need special guest referee, we still need Inferno matches back into the game. There's some match types that just needed to be added back into the WWE games that have just been gone since 2K14, and I feel like that's what's kind of missing. We're missing a bunch of match types that were in previous games, and I feel like it's time that they make a comeback at some point. As for things such as crashes and glitches, I can't necessarily say that I've experienced too many glitches, but I can say that I've experienced a good chunk of crashes during my time playing this game. This game has crashed on me while I was making a superstar and create a superstar, and it's crashed on me while I was just setting up a match type. I didn't even get to like do anything. I just made a match and the game just crashed. I didn't even go into the selection screen or anything. I just picked a match type. That's really all I did, and the game just crashed. The same thing happened while I was making a superstar and created a wrestler. It just crashed out of nowhere after just selecting a few options, and that's kind of painful. You hate to see crashes just happen, just completely out of nowhere too. That's the worst part. So now it's time to ask the major question of today's video: is WWE 2K23 worth purchasing right now? And the answer honestly depends on you. Right now there's still a couple of bugs that have happened here and there with the game, and I honestly can't recommend people buy it immediately, but I will say this: it honestly depends on who you are. If you're somebody who really wants to play the War Games match, then I guess wait till the game's on sale. If you already have WWE 2K22, I just say play that for a bit. The gameplay is obviously one-to-one, it's exactly the same, but in terms of just wanting to play the game, if you want to play it that badly, then I recommend just buying it when the game is on sale. But yeah, that's gonna be today's video. If you guys did enjoy it, then please leave a like on the video. Did you guys already buy 2K23? What are your thoughts on the game already? And give me your perspective and opinions. With that being said, my name is Dende. Thank you so much for watching today's video, and I'll see you all in the next video, whenever the hell that is. Peace.